The Laredo version of the new Cherokee is not as cheap as I'd like it to be, especially when you compare it to the Limited price-wise, but we'll take a look at it today. The Doug Smith Jeep is providing us with this Cherokee, so I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. If you have any questions, just ask for Brad. Let's get right into it. Under the hood is a turbo 1.6 liter 4-cylinder that's paired to a hybrid and an EVT. Fuel economy is 39 around town, 35 on the highway, with power outputs being 210 horsepower and then 230 pound-feet of torque. If you're looking for more straight-to-the-point reviews like this, make sure you subscribe. I love that this flat gray color is making its way across the Stellantis lineup because it looks so good on all the cars. Down below we've got LED lights. We have the 7-slot grille that Jeep is famous for, but the outside is actually closed off. And at the bottom section you can see fog lights, and this new Cherokee has a very boxy design overall. 225 by 60 by 18 for the tire and wheel setup. You got silver mixed with the metallic gray. And then taking a look at the side profile, you can see the boxiness is more boxy in the back, if that makes sense. You got blacked out mirror caps and just nice trim in general, other than the bottom that's all unpainted, but it's a Jeep thing, it looks rugged. Now you got the Jeep logo there on the back. On the front face we have our lock and unlock. You got the remote start function as well. I'm guessing this is gonna be manual. Yeah, it's hydraulic. Seat folds down flat in the back, and you have a ton of storage space in the back of the Cherokee. This is an extremely practical vehicle. We actually move this back. You can pull this up. You do have a spare tire underneath as well. It looks like it's not a full size though. Got a handle for the short people. The tall people, I guess, will just do that. Look at those taillights. Like, that's pretty nifty looking. Kind of looks old school in a way, which, I don't know, works, I suppose. That will cap things off for the exterior of this Laredo. Let's now take a look at the interior. Now you're just going to get regular windows throughout. It's plasticky up top. Down below you've got cloth, and then you have this soft touch like fake leather stuff with the stitching. The seats have cloth trim, kind of a cool design in the center portion of these seats. Easy to get in, legroom's good here in the back. We've got some vents in the rear, USB ports as well, and then with that boxy design you've got good headroom. Let's now take a look up front. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors, again just regular glass. Now they actually give you soft touch for the driver up top, so it's not just like hard plastic. Cloth trim, and then more of that soft touch. Front two windows are automatic. There's even more cloth right there. Now the front seat, again cloth, is power adjustable with lumbar support. The passenger seat's manual with the adjustments. With the steering wheel, it's got more of a squared off design. Radio controls in the back. You got practical controls in the front, like your adaptive cruise control for your steering assist, lane centering. You've got that for the center digital cluster as well. Being a digital cluster means it's gonna be more customizable. You can change the information that's displayed. I still think that like transition from one to the next is super slow looking. I don't know. It's not a big deal. Backup camera in reverse. You do have a zoom function with the camera as well. Good resolution. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, notice a little bit of lag. You get heated seats with this. It's not, I mean, and part of it's because I've had this actually on for a little bit, so it's had enough time to warm up, and it's not a cold day outside either. Now they do give you physical buttons for the climate, dual zone climate. They also give you a low gear mode. Again, it's got an EVT, so it's not actual gears with this car. 2 USB ports there on the other side. And then you can see the storage space there. Some cup holders here. You got your engine stop start. This is the transmission select. Drive mode select behind it with a little kind of toggle switch. And you have your auto holds. You've got a little off-road cruise, as if anyone's gonna take this off-road. It's about fuel efficiency. Good storage here. I don't know if that's actually still a phone charging pad. It's in the area, but it doesn't have like the normal phone charging pad icon thing on it. Nice trim here on the top with it, and then manual mirror dimmer too. 2026 Cherokee Laredo, $41,085. Let's take this out and see how it performs. So, here's the deal, folks. You should just buy a Limited. There you go. The review's over. No, I'm just kidding. But also not the same. So the review's not over. But yeah, I mean, this is so close in price to the Limited, because the Limited that I reviewed was like what, 42 grand if I remember right. Something like, I mean, it was super close in price. Because if you're talking about, let's say it was 43 grand, because I can't remember the exact MSRP. I should have probably looked it up before I started filming this video. $40,000, let's say $2,000 price difference. You're talking about a 5% difference in price. 5%. That's not nothing, but also it's also kind of nothing at this point. I mean, like, that most people finance their cars nowadays. And so like that changes your payment by a negligible amount per month. So yeah, that's kind of funky. And it's like, this isn't that much of a, and this is the problem, this isn't that much of a downgrade from the Limited that I reviewed. Like this has most of the same stuff that the Limited has. It just pretty much has cloth seats instead of the fake leather. So then I guess that kind of makes the Laredo feel a little bit more valuable, because like you pretty much get all the same features for a bit less money and the seats are just different. But it's like, why make the packages this similar, this close? This is the problem, I think, with some of these modern cars, is that the packages are way too close nowadays. They used to have kind of a bigger differentiation between them, but now it's like, I don't know, everything's pretty much the same. Now this, I've said this in the past, this doesn't really feel like a Jeep. It's something completely different, and I don't see it as a problem, because Jeep has been missing something like this in their lineup for, I wouldn't say like a long time, but probably for about 5 years or so. Something that is just phenomenal on road, economical, because like the Grand Cherokee is really good on road, but no version of the Grand Cherokee has really been all that economical. I mean, you can say the 4xe, but it's only so economical when your car lights on fire in your garage, because you guys remember the 4xe issues. Like they've had, there's a reason why they're getting rid of that powertrain. It's very problematic. So it's like the only economical powertrain ever available in the Grand Cherokee was, well, you know, some people have had good luck with it, but some people not so much, right? So problematic. And this is how you should do a hybrid, right? You do, EVT is just, it's basically the same thing as ECVT, right? This type of transmission without gears has a lot less going on compared to if you do like a torque converter automatic with a hybrid. And it just works with the hybrid system better, because it lets the hybrid system, if it has to sit at higher RPMs like this, it just lets it happen. It just sits there, it holds it at the higher RPMs, doesn't have to downshift because it's run out of gear ratio. So that means that it gives you power when you need it, and then it's efficient when you need it, when you're not on throttle. You can just sit there at low RPMs, and it's very quick with the transition between the two. It's a really good system for a hybrid. And this thing has great visibility. I like how this drives, but again, it's just not like, if you're getting this thinking, oh, I get this hybrid that I'm also going to be able to take to Moab, no, that's not the case. This is like, even though they've got, you know, low gear mode and the off-road cruise control, and they have a sand and mud mode, this is a street car. This is a street car. Doesn't have a ton of clearance. I mean, when you look underneath the vehicle, like it's pretty low, like everything's pretty low to the ground on it. It's not nice and tucked up like you see in a Grand Cherokee, or like with the Wrangler or Gladiator. But again, I don't think it's a problem. And what I've seen is that pretty much every single one of these that dealers get in, they sell pretty quickly. Yeah, see, the acceleration's fine. And it just you'll notice it just holds. And then it doesn't go down in RPMs, or it goes down in RPMs once I kind of pull back on the throttle. That's what you want with the hybrid system, so you can get maximum power. Yeah, so overall I'm a fan of the new Cherokee. Again, like most of you, I'm a little bit concerned about the powertrain being a turbo engine instead of being naturally aspirated with a hybrid. But time will tell, right? Time will tell in that part of things. But yeah, the driving's great. And if you want a Jeep in terms of the look, and this is a lot of people, you want the Jeep look, but you're not going to ever do any Jeep stuff, right? You're not going to take it off-road. You don't even, you know, you just live in normal suburbia or whatever. It's like, this is perfect. And it's not to say that this couldn't go over rough terrain. Like I said, it just doesn't have a ton of clearance. And so, like, if you live in a more rural area and you're not, like, you're just going through dirt roads and everything, I think this would be fine. You'd obviously, I think, be better served with a Grand Cherokee. But you could definitely make it work with the Cherokee here if you're looking for the efficiency that the hybrid provides, and then also the fuel range, right? You're always going to get good fuel range. When you get good fuel economy, you get good. And let's see if this actually indicates that at all anywhere. So we're in vehicle tab. Nope, wrong way. So it says I have 154. Oh, but the average fuel, so this thing hasn't, that's the problem. This thing isn't broken or anything. So if it's indicating, it'd be like 300, almost 300 miles to full with that fuel economy. So if you get 35. So this probably gets like 600 miles when you actually like get the fuel economy average up to what it's supposed to be with, you know, with actual driving. That's good. That's a lot of range on a vehicle. So, what are your thoughts?